Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to today's podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about why people don't trust gyms anymore. And to be completely honest with you, they have every right to. From free 6-week challenges, to contracts you can't get out of, or gyms just shutting down and you never hearing back from them. Why should people trust gyms? But the thing is, though, it does give you an opportunity to stand out from all the noise and become that gym that everybody knows about and that everybody flocks to, because it's just making it so much easier to shine through all the shit. So let's dive into this episode. The first thing that we're going to be talking about is, let's do a quick little intro. Right, Brandon? So my name is Josh. And this is my partner, Brandon, and we're the hosts of this podcast. If you don't know us, we actually opened a gym in the middle of the pandemic and took it to $100,000 months in under 2 years. Now, we've scaled our business, and we have the time to teach you how to do the same. So let's dive in. So the first thing we have to talk about is the trust recession. And people have been throwing around this term recently, the trust recession. So it is very important to talk about. It is the fact that people just don't trust businesses anymore. And it's because they've been burned. And so now we're at the all-time lows of trust when it comes to businesses.
And that's why I think people flock to well-known brands, right? They're always going to go to these big mega companies that they've seen time and time again. And it's hard for any smaller ones to actually break through because of this trust recession. Because when you're first starting off, people are like, who the hell are you? Why should I trust you? When all these other big companies have been trusted time and time again. And even if they've made mistakes, they have the capital and they have the experience to back it up and then make better promises later on in the future. But you just starting out, this is what you're competing against. So how do you break through with this?
Yeah, exactly. So you have F45, you walk inside, it's super clean, you know the owners know what they're doing. Yeah, sure, maybe it's a little bit more expensive, but it's the same. It's kind of like McDonald's, right? The reason why people go to McDonald's is because it's the same consistent burger every single time they go. And if you go into that F45, it's the same consistent class everywhere you go. So it's something that you can just trust automatically. But your gym, like, how do you build that trust with your community, right? And especially when they're like Google searching you, you pop up, they go on your website, and it looks like shit. So the nice thing is that it's very likely that your whole area, like all of the gyms in your local area, are not doing a good job. It's very, very likely. So it is easier to stand out. But yeah, all of these people that have been coming into these gyms, like, over the last years, they've been burned by so many gyms. They burned by, like, gym contracts, like all of the like awful gym contracts where, even when you can cancel, the owner forgets to actually, like, cancel the contract, and the payments still keep going on, and they're not responding.
And especially through the pandemic, we've seen so many different gyms close down. And I've heard this time and time again when I'm doing sales consultations. People don't want to sign on with you originally for a really long time because they're still having a contract with another gym that doesn't even exist anymore. Like, there was a gym a block away from us, and they said they were being billed for 6 months before they were even able to get into contact with anyone before they can get any money back.
Yeah. And then there's also, like, this was a huge problem in the States. Do the Americans call it the States? No, they call it America, right?
America.
Okay, so we're from Canada. So there's a huge problem in America where people were doing, like, the free 6-week challenges, and everyone was doing it. In fact, people are still doing it all over the America, and in some places in Canada too. It's not that bad in Canada yet. I'm sure it will get to that point, but the free 6-week challenges, everybody's heard of them, everybody's been burned by them. When you search free 6-week challenge, there's a Reddit post that says, like, it's a scam. And so, yeah, the thing is, it's a bait and switch. You say, oh, it's free, but then you come and it's like, oh, it's actually free only if you end up hitting your goals.
Right.
And people walk out.
Yeah, sorry. And then they also, like, promised tons of results in these 6 weeks, and like just like you and I know, anything that's sustainable and good for the long run is not going to happen within just a short 6 week period. And what they're actually trying to do is just rope you into something way more expensive, way longer, and then you just originally came into this thinking that you're going to get like something really free, a low barrier to entry, but in fact they're just going to bait and switch you with something that they originally intended to sell you in the first place.
And that's so true. Like the results are just not as promised. These 6 week challenges, they'll say like, oh, you can lose 25 pounds in 6 weeks, but the reality is like 99% of people are not going to be able to do that, and they're going to be disappointed in your services. And then the next time they see a gym, they're going to be like still cringing at the time that they had to go through like that crappy program and pay $5.99 because they didn't hit their goals, But yeah, so we actually had just a recent consultation, right? Because actually, before we dive into that, I should just talk about how people interact with businesses. Okay, so now because of this trust recession, people don't trust gyms anymore. They don't trust business anymore. They have to go through every single one of like your social like pages. Okay, whether it's your website, Google, Instagram, or anything like that. And we just recently had a consultation come in, and she actually told us, she said, well, you guys popped up on a Facebook ad, and then I Google searched you, and then I read your reviews, and then I went on your website, and then from there, I actually went through a few pages, and then I went on your Instagram, actually, and then I went through your entire Instagram, and then I went through your trainer's Instagram, because I noticed that you were posting your trainers on there, and then I went through their Instagrams, and then she's like, I know this sounds so creepy, but then I decided that I was going to work with you guys. And then she threw down $4,000 in a contract.
People think that like you just leaving one facet of your social media page is not going to matter, but clearly like you can not leave no stone unturned. Like you have to make sure all your bases are covered and actually consistent, so when they actually come in, it's exactly as you portray it.
Yeah, exactly. And so keeping everything consistent, of course, is extremely important. Like your website looks the same as your social media, and then all of that actually looks like the same as your actual gym, But also just making sure that you have all of these things as well, and like good versions of it. Like if you have a crappy website, like the way that a potential client is interacting with your business before they end up working with you is like they're trying to look for every reason not to work with you. Every reason. And if you give them that one reason, they go on your social media and they're like, ugh, this social media is kind of ugly, then they're not going to work with you. The decision's already made. So that's why it's really important to make sure that you do a good job in all of these things. And a lot of people a lot of consultants will say like, oh no, you don't have to do that. You can just run Facebook ads. But that's not how people are interacting with it. And if you're wondering why you're not getting sales, is because the person who came to your gym from a Facebook ad ended up going on your website, ended up going on your Google reviews, ended up going on your Instagram, and then they were like way less likely to join in. So then now that instead of that being like a free intro to your gym and just like a little tour and then you sign up, it's more of just like an actual sales consultation with tons of objections. It does allow the person to kind of let up a little bit and trust you and not be hard sold. Not have to be hard sold.
Yeah, and just to kind of add on top of that is like the people who do just come in with only such little information on your business, like the ones that just like see your Facebook ad and they just come in, the ones that are not as informed, those typically are not the clients that are going to spend a lot of money in your business, stay a lot of time, and become part of your community. Those are the ones that you might not want to serve as much as the other ones that are so much more well researched.
Yeah.
So while we're on this kind of topic, like what are like, and we've kind of covered this a little bit in the story of how this one client went through all these things. Like in your mind, like what are the facets of your marketing, or what are the contact points that these leads are coming into that we need to clean up, and what are the strategies that we can employ to make sure that they're good and cohesive?
Yeah, for sure. So I think there's four low-hanging fruit for 99% of businesses that they can work on, which is your Google My Business listing, your website, your Instagram, and then your Facebook ads specifically. You, of course, have your YouTube channel, potential podcasts that you're running, and all of that stuff, like your trainers' Instagrams and all that stuff. But those are the low-hanging fruit that are easy to fix. And we're going to briefly talk about how you can fix all of these things. Of course, we can't get into too much detail inside a short podcast, but I'm going to kind of dive in a little bit into each one. So first off, your Google My Business listing is so important. It doesn't really matter about your like where your traffic's coming from, whether it's your Instagram or Facebook ads or anything like that, or even a referral. The first thing that people are going to do are Google search you and look at your reviews. And unfortunately, there is a huge portion of the of our traffic who actually search by your reviews by the lowest. So you can actually filter it on Google, and you can just search by lowest. And when somebody's interacting with your Google My Business listing and they see you responding negatively to reviews, and let's say you have like a negative review and you're like, yeah, well, Becky, you know what? You didn't show up to any of the classes, and then you were expecting really good results. Obviously, you're not going to be able to see really good results because you didn't come to any of the classes. It's like, yeah, the next person looking at that, it goes like, oh, okay, well, this is a reason why not I shouldn't join, right? Versus going like, hey, Becky, I'm so sorry for your experience at our gym. I wish that we can do, I'm willing to do anything I can to rectify this. And if you could reach out to me by this number and this email, like, I'll do anything, right? It just really shows like, hey, this person really does care and he's really nice. And it actually makes that person writing the review look kind of dumb.
Yeah, and then sometimes those people do come back, but very, very, very in a very rare circumstance.
Yeah, well, at least they could remove that review. Like maybe you can say like you call that person, you say like, hey, I'm gonna refund you for every single penny that you've spent at our gym, if you don't mind removing that review. I'm not sure if actually that's something you could do with Google, but. Like that is an option for you, right? Is like give them some sort of incentive to remove that review, and it might be worth it, right? Like even if the person spent like $1,000 at your gym, it might be worth it for you to just give them a refund and say like, hey, I'm so sorry, if you don't mind removing that review, that'd be great, right? And it's just like it does make a big difference, and it does. What I'm like, and not every negative review means that it's bad. Like your gym's just going to go downhill, right? Like you're going to get bad reviews. It's going to happen, right? And even if you have like a 4.9 star, right, and you have a few negative reviews, like I think it almost like makes your gym look even a little bit better, in a way where it adds a little bit of personality, right. Or like it's almost like more real in a way, I guess.
Totally. And these things are going to happen. It's just like how you react to the situation is what people are actually looking for.
Yeah.
But another thing that you're going to want to really make sure happens when you have your Google My Business is it actually becomes searchable, right, in your local area. That's going to be one of the most important things. So, like, if someone is to type in personal training in blank city, so it's like personal training Boston, personal training Arizona, like, you need to make sure you're in the top 3 of those selections because people aren't going to take the time to scroll down and down and down. Like, I wonder what the 8th place is doing.
Yeah, exactly. So, and the way that you do that is actually through SEO. So if you on your website mention whatever your home city is, along with also your Google My Business, like actually in your Google My Business listing itself, in the descriptions, you mention best gym in your city, right? You mentioned that a few times. It's going to bring it a little bit higher up. And then also, if your reviews are mentioning this is the best gym in your city, then yeah, it's going to rank it even higher because it's like, oh, people are searching for this, and this is what this place is. So it'll bring you up even higher. And so that's how you rank really high. And like if you're not the top 3 in your local area, there's a big problem. If somebody has to scroll, that's a problem. And especially if they have to scroll and then they see like low reviews or no reviews or bad reviews, then that's an even bigger problem. So really, really important. And then also another way to rank higher is just to be active on your Google My Business listing. I can't tell you how many times we see other gyms who haven't posted on their Google My Business in years. Like they opened their Google My Business, they posted their like 10 pictures, and they're like, okay, we're good. No, 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 no. You should be updating it as much as your regular social media. You should be updating it every week with new pictures of the gym, new photos of clients, new before and after pictures. Just keep updating it all the time. Because Google is very much a social media as well, and it will rank you higher if they know that you're posting on it. Because they're like, oh, this place is active, obviously, right?
You want to paint a clear picture. So when you're posting these pictures, paint the clear picture of like what your facility like is. If you can capture something of like what the experience is like when they first walk in. And so when they walk into your facility, they're like, this is familiar. This is exactly how it's depicted.
For sure. And so now your Google My Business ties into your website. That's the most important thing. So once somebody goes to your Google My Business listing, they're going to next go on your website just to check you guys out even more, right? And your website has to look completely professional, and also it has to be high converting. So you have to actually look at the conversion metrics. How many people land on your website and actually end up booking a consultation with you, right? So we track all of that data, and we work with a website developer. They're called Siteplicity, Siteplicity, right? Like simplicity, but Siteplicity. And they do such an excellent, amazing job. And the cool thing is they just can update your website pretty much at like anytime. Like you ask them like to update anything on your website, they'll just do it for you, right? And they can actually get your website live really well, but also the back end of it, the SEO and everything, they do an amazing job as well, because they work specifically with gyms and fitness studios and like martial arts studios. So they know exactly what it takes to rank high for that. They've niched down and they've become the experts of that niche. So that's why we highly recommend working with them. And instead of you having to shell out $5,000 or $10,000 on a website, they actually just charge a monthly fee. And if you click down below in our description, we have a referral code that waives the setup fee for you. So highly recommend working with them. But that's all we're going to talk about the website, because we're going to dive into kind of some Instagram and Facebook stuff as well. So
yeah, so when we're thinking about Instagram, it's pretty much a social platform for your new leads to come in and, again, get a clear picture of like what it's like to work with you, and make it really easy for it to drive traffic back to your website. But when you come down and you should instantly click into your Instagram, it should be like, wow, this gym is active. This is what it's like. This is what the experience is going to be like. This is who I meet here. There's faces to the gym rather than it just being a flat business. Like, because I mean, we're talking to mainly small box gyms here that are on the growth spurt, right? So put a name to put a face to the name, right? It needs to be like personal, and that's what you're going to drive through in social media.
Exactly. Yeah. So a lot of people, they think that they need to start doing social media and start like going viral and make viral content. It has nothing to do with that when it comes to gyms. When it comes to gyms, all you want to do is build a community and build trust with your audience. That's what you want to do. That's it. So when somebody lands on their page, they go like, okay, I want to work with these people. I want to follow them. And also your current clients to interact with it. That's it. That's literally it. Like we don't shoot, like we rarely look at our views or anything like that. Like, yeah, it helps us kind of decide what's working with our client, like what people want to watch. But at the same time, like all we want to do is just show like how awesome our gym is to train at. That's basically it.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point too, where you talked about like the internal aspect of it too. It's a place where you can like showcase your clients and their wins, and they're going to be much more likely to kind of share those things too, because they're proud of the community that you've built in the gym and in the social space as well.
Yeah. So one thing that I want to say about Instagram, right? And by the way, goes for every single one of these things: your Google My Business, your website, all of it. Like social media, whether it's your website, Google My Business, or Instagram, is supposed to be social, okay? So if you're posting a video of your group fitness class and you're just posting a bunch of people working out with some music in the background and like some flashy edits or something like that, like it's not how you interact with your social media, your own social media. Like when you're scrolling through your feed, that's not how you're interacting. You would literally flip through and watch the next video if you saw something like that, right? It's like almost jarring, right? So you have to just make sure that you build your social media in a way that integrates with the app itself, so that when somebody's clicking through there, it doesn't create like a mismatch and like this jarring effect in their brain where they're like, whoa, what is this? Like all of a sudden, like go back to what we were doing before. It has to all integrate really well with the actual app that you're working with. So just keep that in mind. It has to be social. So post pictures with your client and your trainer, and maybe your trainer does like a little demo of something, or maybe pictures of your gym, pictures of your team, like things like that. It has to be social. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Really, really, really important. And I guess do you have anything else you want to throw in with there?
Okay, I was just gonna say that like you want to just show that you're active on it too, right? Like the worst thing to do is like go to some Instagram of some gym and you're like, oh, these guys haven't posted in like 2 years. Do these guys even exist? Like if I go to a sales consultation, are they gonna be there? Like there should be some like day in the life kind of stories going on, and it doesn't have to be extensive, right? It's just like trainers training clients or celebrating wins, like we were saying earlier, or like we have posts with like events and stuff, right? But just show that you're active. You're a real business that's taken professionally, and people are ready to show up to, and people are ready, your gym is ready to take on new people as well.
That's actually such a good point. So a lot of people think that like, oh, if I start doing social media, I'm gonna have to start posting 5, 6, 7 times per week, twice per day, stories and stuff like that. What we actually recommend to the people that work with us, to the gyms that work with us, is posting 2 times per week. Why? One, because then you can focus more on the quality of the posts, okay? And then 2, we know that you don't have time for that. Like, we know that you don't have time for that. And it's also, thirdly, unnecessary to, because that's not how people are interacting with your company. This is just to show people that you're alive, that you're doing well, and that like that's and that you're social. That's it. You don't have to be daily or anything like that. In fact, the weird thing is when we start posting daily, our engagement with the posts kind of goes down, right? It's kind of weird, and I know that I'm not sure entirely why that happens. Like there are a lot of obviously people who highly recommend posting frequently, and it seems to be working for them. For us, it's just not that. Maybe the thing is when we start posting frequently, we just can't keep up with the quality, and then once the quality goes down, then it becomes then people don't interact with it. Simply put, right? So I'm sure you've experienced that with your own gym. So focus way more on the quality of the posts. Okay. And I guess finally, let's move into the Facebook ads. So the Facebook ads, the way that you should be looking at it, again, is social media. It's social media. It should integrate with the app. And something like a free 6-week challenge is jarring, okay? Like it does throw you off. And the people that click on it are going to be the people who are into like the cheap like crap on stuff like Temu and stuff. So... and that's not the type of people that you want to be attracting. You want to be attracting high value, high quality, high spend leads. And the best way to do that is to create a Facebook ad strategy that is that attracts those types of people. And before I dive into this, I just want to let you know that when we work with our clients, we actually do this for you, because I'm about to get into it, and I think people are going to be a little bit thrown off. They're going to be like, how am I supposed to do this? And I don't want to scare anybody. If you want to work with us, then we'll literally do this for you. We'll put it into your Facebook account, and we'll like teach you how to like do everything. We'll edit the videos for you and everything like that. If you feel confident in doing it yourself, then great, do it yourself. So the way that you should look at it is a funnel. And at the top of the funnel, you have like your general awareness. So who are you? Who is this gym, right? Like a lot of your area doesn't even know who you are. And when you're setting up your Facebook ads account, you can be talking about things like, for example, like, hey, you haven't, like, you can make a video that's like, hey, you haven't heard about XYZ Fitness? No, I haven't. Who are they? And then like it cuts back and it's like, well, they're the best gym in the city. It could be something like that, right? And it's just like kind of like a creative fun thing. There's no direct call to action. And then those are actually really cheap to run. Those type of ads are really cheap to run. You just set them up for engagement or video views, and it just sends them to a lot of people in your area. And then from there, you can grab those video viewers and then send them further into the funnel. And in the middle of the funnel, in the bottom of the funnel, you can have things like testimonials, where you're doing like literal video testimonials with your client. And don't complicate it. You can do something simple like chatting with a client like, hey, what's your favorite part about training at XYZ Fitness? And then they say, I love the community, and like it's been such a great time here, and I've seen such amazing results. And you'd be like, perfect. Would you recommend working with us? Yeah, like I can't recommend you guys enough. You guys like have completely changed my life, right? And you just keep like you take those kind of videos and you put those up as your Facebook ads. I know it sounds crazy, right? And then from there, you can target all of these video viewers and all these people who've interacted with your business, who've been on your website and everything, and then you show them direct call to actions like, hey, we have a free week at the XYZ gym. Here's how you sign up. Click the link below, and it takes them to your website, and then with no landing page or anything, and then they just click that button on your website, and then they sign up with you. Like, that is the best way to run a Facebook ad strategy. It may not be like super direct. You may not get as many leads. It might cost you a little bit more when it comes to the actual leads itself. But the nice thing is, though, that these are going to be extremely high quality leads who've interacted with your business so much, and they're ready to buy as soon as they set foot in your gym. And that's how we run our entire Facebook ad strategy, and it does really well.
And I think people and gyms are doing it the complete opposite, right? They're running those challenges and the direct CTA is just like blasted at you right away. And then people are surprised, like, oh, why am I getting these really low quality leads? It's because you haven't taken the time to build the trust through them through that whole entire funnel, and also pre-qualify the people who are not interested, right? So the general awareness ad, you're going to be surprised how many more people interact with that. And the people who watch a lot of the video, they're obviously more interested than the people who just like flip through the next thing, right? And it's going to slowly whittle them down. So by the time the sales process happens, the sales consultation happens, they know a lot about your gym already. They know how you work. They're familiar with your brand. They trust you. And so the sales consultation is more just like a process of like, how do I start?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's kind of like, for us, our sales rate is like over 80%. And the people that we don't sell are like literally like, there was no selling them. Like like it was impossible to sell them. Everybody else, like, it doesn't even take a hard sell. We're just literally nudging them. We're just going like, come on, like, you want to do it.
Yeah, like, why don't you do this?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like they go like, oh, I should probably go home and talk to my husband. We're like, no, you know what? I'm sure he's going to like support you. Yeah, and then they go like, yeah, you're right. And then they just end up signing up. Like, it's like barely pushing them, versus if you're running this free 6-week challenge stuff, or like 6-week challenges, or general like direct CTAs like that to a cold audience and they don't even know you, you're going to have to be an ice cold hustler to be able to sell these people. And it's just like not worth it. Like, I'd rather put more time and effort into the marketing, and when the sale comes along, we just go like, yeah, so here's the contract. Yeah, it's gonna cost you $5,000, and they go like, okay.
Right, and every gym owner, not every gym owner got into this being a master salesperson, right? And so if you're able to make the people trust you way more before they get to you, you don't have to have those crazy sales skills, and you don't have to feel sleazy pushing them into these things. It's like they already know and they already ready to work with you in this regard.
But okay, so wait, guys, like, if this overwhelmed you in any way, just know that if there is an option, you could just work with us directly, and we will implement this into your business, done for you. Like, we'll just do it for you. So you don't have to actually do that much. All you have to do is just send us some pictures and videos. We will edit it, put it all together for you, and we'll implement it in your account, and it'll just start working immediately. Along with, of course, AI talking to all of these leads, making sure that they come into your business, building out your website for you, your Instagram page. We actually build out your entire Instagram page as well. Like, we literally just do everything for you, because we know how busy you are as a gym owner. And so if you wanted to work with us directly just to implement this into your business, all you have to do is go down into the description below, book a call to speak with us. We're going to show you exactly how it looks like working with one of us, and we will we'll get you set up and get started immediately. But is there anything else that you wanted to throw in today, Brandon?
I think that's it. I think we covered it pretty well.
Nice. Okay, so just remember that there's a trust recession. You have to build trust with your audience. You can't just go and sell it to a cold audience. And the best way to do that is just use social media as a tool to build that trust with people. But that's pretty much it for this podcast. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
See ya.